Silly.
All right, all right, all right.
I like that necklace, Dion.
Oh, thank you very much.
That's pretty. I need to give me a necklace. I'm just gonna. Yeah, I don't have all that. You fancy.
Right. Well, I like necklaces and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah,
a
I'm not really
jewelry
big.
queen. So
Right, I know.
for all you paparazzi people out there, just don't find me.
Wait,
That's what I
there we
don't want you.
go.
That's what I don't want you to do. It's fine. All right, all right.
Hey,
Well, my name,
everybody.
yes. Hey, how you doing today? Uh-oh. Go ahead.
It's another water cooler Wednesday.
My computer wanted to reboot. Sorry.
Oh yeah, we don't want that. That's not
I
good.
know. I was like, oh shoot. All right. Yes. It's another water cooler Wednesday, and today we always coming to you with these great topics: renting versus buying.
Yes.
So
Rent versus own. That's right.
rent versus own. So a lot of people
Hey, Miss Valerie.
right. A lot of people are always saying, "Oh, I'd I'm just gonna rent." But do you really want to rent? So my question to you is, if you've been renting for 10 years and you paying at least, I think what I said, like $1,000 for rent. So for 12 months,
Mm-hmm.
you pay
$12,000. That's twelve
right
thousand dollars every year. You're doing that
every year,
for what 10 years? So that's $120,000 then.
$120,000.
It's a lot
You
of
could have
money.
bought a home. You could have bought a home. So let's talk about that. But before we start, my name is Dion Branch, and I am with Allure Dream Homes, broker by EXP, here to serve you. And I have my co-host with me.
Hey, Lisa, House Money Mama. Next to Mortgage, where brokers are better. I am here today. Hey, listen, before we actually jump in, can I just mention something real quick? Just real quick. Okay. So they are actually talking about cutting the MI mortgage insurance. So we have
Oh,
a factor that we have to use for mortgage insurance, and for FHA, it's always much higher. For conventional, it's actually based upon your credit, so you can get lower mortgage insurance payments if you have better credit. But it doesn't work that way for FHA. It's 0.85, or if you put down more than 3.5%, then it's 0.80. But anyway, they are actually discussing lowering that. So that'd be make things a little bit easier for some people to qualify, because sometimes those little tiny things make the difference in when a person qualify or not. So I just
you're
wanted to
right.
mention that because I'm excited. That's good news.
You're right. That's some good news. That's definitely some good news. We have the interest rates going higher, and
Yep.
they take away something like that. That'll be really great.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep.
Mhm. So renting versus owning, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are like, oh, like I said, I just rather rent. Okay, so what are some advantages of renting? Let's just say what people say what the advantages of renting are, right?
Mm-hmm.
So um, they say no responsibilities for your repairs and maintenance. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I get that, but you also have to wait for the landlord to come turn the heat on.
Right.
Right. So I know a lot of us, I've rented in the past years ago, and I'm cold by September 15th or whatever, and
Oh
October
my goodness. Yes.
and October 3rd is the day that they legally have to turn it on. And as a
Right.
landlord, a lot of landlords don't care how cold it gets before October 3rd.
They
They're
like,
not turning
you
on
better go in
no.
there and put on a sweater.
Exactly. So when you're saying that you don't have to worry about repairs and maintenance, that's it's kind of it goes. So the rent
Right.
is usually cheaper than the mortgage payment. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, it could be.
Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. I think that we can attest to the fact that over the past couple of years that we have definitely seen where the mortgage payment actually made more sense than the rent did.
Mhm.
Wayne was one of those people. I want to say his full name, but I remember his rental was about, I want to say maybe $2,300 a month for his rent, and when we got into a house, I believe his mortgage payment was about 17.
Yeah.
So he saved $600 a month. And that I'm this is over a year ago, that we did this transaction. I'm thinking of, but he was the first person to come to mind. So, but I
Hmm.
know for sure that with him, his rent was way more than what his
Yeah.
mortgage ended up being. And
Yeah.
we were able to get him some down payment assistance too, because I put him in the Chenoa program. So yeah.
So yeah, so there definitely is some possibilities with that. But you know,
Okay, so Dion obviously is gonna have to go take care of Brutus or Bella. I'm not sure who that was. I think that's my friend Brutus, though. Hi, Brutus. I'm gonna have to come visit Brutus. He just
Brutus is
missed me.
still
That's
here
all.
with us, so let's see. I at least got one, rid of one. Sorry about that. But my point is, I wanted to bring
And
up
so, like, listen, while Brutus coming in on our thing, so if you was renting, your landlord get to say if Brutus coming out.
exactly true, right? One of the things that we've noticed lately is that actually rent has gone up. So, although there's, the interest rate has gone up and causing, an increase in the amount of for a mortgage,
Mhm.
but renters, landlords have actually gone up on their leases as well. I've heard
Yep.
a lot this year about people actually the landlord going up like $900. I
Yeah.
yeah, I feel
Crazy.
like
Mm-hmm. And
I feel like
I've heard
that's
a
a lot.
couple of stories. I know a friend of mine. He actually there's a couple of people. I want to say maybe three people that this happened with. So I had stories where people were renting, and then the landlord increased the rent so significantly, did not give them an option to renew the lease because they knew that the old tenant would probably fight them on it, but a new tenant would expect that they were going to have to pay that amount and just come in and pay it. So they said, well, you know what? We're doing renovations on the building and your lease is up. We're giving you a 60-day notice. You need to find someplace else to live.
Yeah.
And that was that. They just had to find someplace else to live. So, when it's your home, they really can't do that. They
Right.
can't just come and say, hey, we renovating. You need to find someplace else to live. It doesn't work like that. Wow, from 1750 to 2100, Sister Valerie. Oh my goodness, that's
Yes.
crazy. Yeah.
Yes. So that's a lot. That's definitely a
Hmm.
lot. And is that Valerie, is that this year? Or was that another year? Because a lot has happened within this year as far as increase, definitely up rent. So,
Yeah. Yep. So
mhm.
that's definitely something that you need to take into consideration is that you don't really have you don't have any flexibility as far as that goes. Now, your home mortgage payment can change. So let me just be clear about that. It is possible for that to change. It's not going to be from the mortgage though. It's your lender. If we put you in a fixed rate product, then nothing changes for us. It's still the same principal. It's still the same interest. And even PMI is going to drop off after 10 years if it's an FHA loan. But and it drops off after you reach the 80% LTV for conventional. But what can change are property taxes and also your HOA. Like if you're in a place where there's a homeowners association, those assessments can change. And then also your insurance, homeowners insurance, those things can change. And those can go up or they can go down. It can
Right.
go either. So you could see an increase in your mortgage payment, or you could actually see a decrease in your mortgage payment.
Right. But
Usually, though, with rent, they don't typically decrease your rent.
they're not decreasing it, and there's no challenging of those. So you can challenge your tax rate increase,
True.
just to find out exactly why it's being increased. So
Hmm.
there are, we had what was
Nancy,
our who
Miss Nancy, the property tax
Miss
lady. Yeah.
We had Nancy on. She shared with us about the property tax. And then the other thing is with your insurance. We had Eric Johnson from Goosehead Insurance on,
Hmm.
and he recommends that you, regardless, check your insurance rate every few years, because a lot of us, even as homeowners, have had our insurance for more than like 10, 20 years and never thought to look at it again because
Yeah.
you're just so comfortable in it. But
Hmm.
but when you have those things, the difference is you can't challenge the landlord. You can ask him why did he decide
Right. Why are you charging
to,
me more rent, man?
right. but but in the end, it's his decision, it's his property, and
Right.
he makes the rules. I think that's another thing. One thing that gets me when I have clients or people that are renting, and they go in and they modify the house.
Yeah.
It's not your house.
Right.
So I had a client. She the property value of the house when she got it was probably like 30 or 40,000. It was in a community where the value was a little lower, but it was a beautiful house.
Hmm.
Well, she went in and she made the house even more beautiful,
Hmm.
right? And then she thought she was renting to own, and when it came down to trying to purchase the house, the owner wouldn't do the changes that was needed for her to finance. So she was having a FHA loan. She needed the roof needed to be repaired in order for the financing. So he would not repair the roof.
Wow.
So and then in the end, he told her that she needed to repaint the house and put it back the way that he had it. So basically, she'd already made it nice, and then he told her, "You need to repaint and leave."
Wow.
So, um, you know, um, one of my concerns is always rent to own program. So I prefer us to look for a house that we can actually own and just go ahead
And
uh,
do your purchase. Yeah.
and do your purchase. Then you
Hmm.
can go in and fix the house how you like it to be. So,
Right.
mhm.
And not all landlords suck. Sorry, I know we've said some stuff. There are some good landlords out there, but the thing is, it's a risk. You're taking that chance because you don't really know what you're going to get. Or how things
Mhm.
might go, or even how markets might change. When stuff changes in the market, that has an impact on them as the owner of the property. So they pass that impact on to you in however way they see fit. Based upon what their particular situation is. So it's not a whole lot to govern to say, oh, what, they can't charge X amount of dollars for rent, or they have to do this. There is some landlord tenant legislation. I'm pretty sure. I'm not very familiar with it. That'd be more like a legal thing to talk about. But they do have a lot of latitude because I mean it's their house. They can do what they want. They don't have to rent to you. you
Yeah,
know.
right,
I mean, so at the end of the day, they can just say, okay, you know what, this ain't working out. How about you just find someplace else to stay? And
right.
and then that's
Let's
what you
talk about
do.
some advantages of owning a home.
Mm-hmm.
So one is equity,
There you go.
right? So Lucy, you want to share what I could do with my equity in my home after
What you want to do, girl?
I want a new bathroom. I want to pay for some my school tuition.
Got you.
Right.
We can do all that. We can do all that.
Right.
So
Owning a
yeah, with
home.
equity, with equity, you can take it out. I mean, you can do a loan where, like how Dion just said, where you actually fix up, maybe do some renovations, maybe expand it. Like the lady beautified the house that she was only renting, you can beautify the one that you're going to own. Now that's going to add to the value of it. You can also just take money out as cash out, where, say for example, you use it for, I don't necessarily recommend it for a vacation, but sometimes people use it for vacation. Sometimes they use it for education. Sometimes they use it to invest. You can take out money from your house, and if you've been watching, what's that thing, Flip That House or whatever it's called,
Right.
and now you decide you want to take some money to put into a project to flip a house, or something like, you can do that. You
Mm.
have that equity in your house, you can do that. I've known a couple people where their house is just bought maybe 6 months, a year or 2 years ago, and now they have 50,000, 70,000, $100,000 in equity.
Yeah.
That's real money, y'all. You can tap into that equity, pull that cash out, and pretty much do what you want with it. So, yeah, you have a lot of different options for how you can spend those funds.
Yeah. So that's definitely an advantage that you can't do while you're renting.
No, try that one. Hey, Mr. Landlord, I noticed that the value in the house has gone up. I was thinking, for this portion of the building, can I take out?
Yeah. No. No. What about the your tax deductions?
Hmm.
So we're always looking at how can I reduce my taxes that I owe at
Yeah.
the end of the year. So they definitely say that by owning a home, you can it helps with your tax deductions. So
Yeah, it's a couple of different things I think you can actually deduct on taxes, because you can do, I believe you can do points, some of the points and fees the year that you first buy the house. I think you can do the points and fees, but then every other year, in addition to that, you can, well, not addition, I shouldn't say that, but every other year, you should be able to do the property taxes. So whatever
mhm,
taxes you pay, you can actually incorporate that into your deduction. So instead of doing a standard deduction, you may do an itemization. So
right.
then you'll use that with other things that you may have, done over the years. So you can actually use that to decrease your tax liability.
Right, and then you can use whatever maintenance you've done on the home. So people are
Mhm.
concerned about, I don't want to own a home because I have to do some maintenance, but you can use that maintenance as part of your tax write off.
Mhm.
That shows that you're putting some improvements into the home. So new windows, things like that, new furnace, those are things that you definitely can use. So.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So something to think about, because I know we're talking about some of the advantages and everything of of uh, of owning. So when you think about, you becoming an owner, now it's a matter of, how does that fit into your timeline? How, because you don't want to actually start to own a home and you're only going to be there for a couple of years. Usually they say it takes about maybe 2 to 3 years in order for you to get back what you started to put into the house. So that's something that you want to take into consideration as well. Because I know we're talking about the different benefits and like advantages and disadvantages, but still, renting, buying, it's a very, very personal decision. And with that personal decision is your personal finances. You want to think about, this is a long-term investment. If you are going to buy, it's a
Right.
long-term investment. Hopefully your rental investment is only something that's going to be short-term, unless you do like Sister Valerie said, and you get an Airbnb. Now that could be a long-term rental investment. That's different, because then you are the landlord, so that makes sense. But as far as doing a purchase for your home, you want to think of it as being long term. These are 30-year loans.
Right. But a lot of times, a lot of people stay in a home. Most people stay in their home. First time home buyers may stay between 5 to 7 years.
Yep, usually about seven
So,
years.
I would think of it as I'm buying this house and I at least need to stay in it for about 5 or 7 years to make sure that you get your investment out of the property. So,
Yeah. And
uh,
they actually have like calculators and stuff online that you can look up, like a rent versus buy type calculator or something. You can actually look that up and plug in some numbers to see what that would look like. Basically, what it tells you is how long it takes you to recoup from what you've invested into, the acquisition of the property, and, the maintenance and things like that, and what you would have been spending versus, your rental amount. it explains all of that and it kind of breaks it down for you. I actually did one just to see, what kind of information they give you, and they do give you some pretty good information as far as how to analyze that and determine if that's a good decision for you. But like I said, the biggest thing is just keeping in mind that it's a very personal decision. We can give you generalized information about how things work and tools you can use and resources and things like that. But really, at the end of the day, what you're looking at is how does this impact me personally for my specific situation? And then use a calculator or give us a call. I'm the numbers girl, so I'm more than happy to go over numbers. Dion is more than happy to go over marketing stuff, as far as what's out there right now and everything, and giving you idea, of what you would be spending and that kind of stuff. So we can kind of work together as a team to craft a plan for you so that you'll be able to decide, okay, well, yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense to buy, but maybe it doesn't make sense to buy right now. Maybe I need to defer my buying until 2 years from now or something like that, when I'm more settled and stable, when I know where I'm going to be for the next 5 years.
Right.
Sometimes you might be in a different place in your career and it doesn't make sense because things are so shaky. It might not make sense for you to do a purchase right now.
hmm Right. I agree. So there's always a situation that fits you. So you should just make sure you think about those things. But um, there's definitely some pros and cons, like Lisa and we've kind of pointed out already, like pros and cons to renting and pros and
Mhm.
cons to owning. So um I would just say, make sure that, like Lisa's saying, take your time to think about it and make sure that you understand that when you're renting, it's not your home. And so make sure you don't do a lot of the things that
Yes.
homeowner does, because I think that's the part that kind of hurts. It really hurts my heart with people when I get those clients after that. And then,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, that is hard because people where your home, that's your nest, like what a nest is to a bird, that's what the house is to us. It's like this is where you do everything. So yeah, you want to make it your own. You want to feel like it's a place. A lot of times people cry when they leave one place and go to another one because
mhm.
they've made memories there, and and things like that. And then also people think about like being a homeowner, what happens with this place when I leave. You don't really have any say so with that when you rent a place. It's just a place where you're. It's like a temporary abode,
Right.
but you can leave your home. You can leave your home to your children, other family, or whatever, or even a friend. It doesn't. They don't have to be blood relatives. However you want to do it. And that's the thing about home ownership, is that all of these decisions are how you want to do it because you're the owner.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And I think that's a good important part that you brought up is you can leave that home to someone else. So as you have a house, and we've had attorney Julie Jones came in and talked
yep.
about adding your house to a trust. So,
Hmm.
and making sure that you're able to pass that house on to your children.
Yeah.
So there's definitely some advantages of owning a home rather than to rent, because the landlord is just kind of asking, how soon can you get this stuff out of my apartment, because he's on to the next person and
Right.
stuff. So mhm.
Yeah.
So I would so I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different things. I just say um, we know that the interest rate is a little higher, but owning a home is really a great thing to do in this, in this years to come. And so you should definitely consider it. And we talk a lot about planning. So I think Lisa mentioned, maybe it's not the time right now, but if you're thinking about it in the future, let's plan it out.
Right.
So
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's how you get things going. And this is the adulting part. We don't just kind of make these decisions on a whim. It's things that we plan for and prepare for. So that way we're in the best position. Traditionally, I think that, in our culture, we really haven't been educated enough to really, one, understand how things work. And then two, seen enough examples, like real life examples of people doing this thing. So it is important. It is important, to gather information. It's important to talk to people who are in the field, who understand what's going on, who can give you good counsel and information, who can give you resources, who can explain how things really work. All those different kind of things are really important. So that way you can make the best plan for you and your family and feel comfortable and stable with that.
Mhm. All right. So next Saturday, between the hours of 11 to 1, Lisa, my team and I, we're also going to have Maurice Holmes from
Credit Restore Station.
right, Credit Restore Station, and then
Yeah.
we're gonna have Adina, who's they're all gonna talk to you about the money aspects of buying a house and what do you need to do in order to prepare. So if you're looking for something like that, the link will be all over in our group.
Yeah.
So where you can definitely take the time, come out, join us, let us share with you how to prepare for the home buying. So this will be your first step in the home buying process of making sure that one, you've set a budget for yourself, two, you got your credit in order, and then three, how can you get pre-approved? If you're ready for pre-approval, Lisa's be there right there to pre-approve you on Saturday. So she'll start the application.
Right.
But
Because y'all remember the one I talked about all them documents I need.
right. So we ask you guys to join us next Saturday, 11 to 1, at least 1:30, I think. 1, and the flyer and the registration will be available for you. Thanks, guys.
All
Bye.
right. Woohoo.